What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a roundup of some content and updates coming to Destiny 2 this week. And so of course we are going into week 3 of Revenant. Before we get into the reset though, Bungie have a handful of updates, including a new patch for the game today. So we'll talk about what we know there, server downtime, and some of the changes. They also give warnings and heads up regarding various items of rewards in the game. Plus we'll talk briefly about exotic class items. It might be worth doing a little bit of prep on that front this week. And then we got new challenges, a whole bunch of farmable exotics coming up this week, as well as a Lost Sector rotation, key drops, and a handful of other things to round up today. So, as always guys, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, a rating below really helps us on the channel, but now, let's get into it. And first up, of course, ahead of the weekly reset, worth a very quick mention here, but Bungie released the Surfboard Skimmer last Friday. No doubt there are going to be some folks that didn't pick it up this week for one reason or another, but it's available for 97 strange coins. But in case you've missed it, this weekend, Bungie do say it will remain available in Xur's inventory until it is purchased. So every time Xur rolls around, it's still going to have it until you pick it up. I actually missed it as well, as I've been away over the course of the weekend. And so if you did miss it this week, be sure to stock up on some strange coins ahead of Xur's return on Friday. Otherwise though, moving to this week, Bungie notify us of upcoming maintenance. So background maintenance will start at 6 AM PDT today, and then downtime begins at 6:45 AM Pacific. And the downtime is expected to end at 10 AM Pacific, which of course is 6 PM in the UK, and that's the weekly reset time, when we will get another update for the game. So Bungie give a quick preview here of some of the changes. Of course, largely they are fixes for the moment. I'm sure there'll be more patch notes than these, but Bungie say Vesper's host will start dropping Artifice armor on Master difficulty, so if you want to jump into the Master version after reset, the Artifice armor should now be dropping. On top of that, they say we're adding a debuff icon so players can identify when they've been marked by a Warlock using Sanguine Alchemy. So if that one's been catching you out in PvP, that should be a useful change hopefully. And then, they say, the last one is very yee-haw, and we fixed an issue where the last word was doing too much damage against players, so the weapon will be re-enabled on Tuesday for PvP and Gambit. They do say though, you all loved the extra damage so much that we've kept it for PvE, and maybe give it a try with Lucky Pants. So, the accidental increase in damage on that weapon will be fixed for the Crucible, and that's good, but if you fancy a bit of hip-fire action in PvE content, it's going to keep that bonus damage, and of course, it might be something to play around with for a little bit of fun. Reminds me of a time in Destiny 1 where our clan did an Atheon challenge with last word only, and that included enemy kills, the mechanics, and also the damage on Atheon. Of course, things have changed in the sandbox since then, but still, might be similar bits of fun we can have with last word in the game. So those are the changes we know about for now, but I'll keep you posted when we do get the rest of the patch notes. Next though, another quick mention for this week, but next week we'll see the return of Festival of the Lost. So bear in mind, as always, there'll be plenty of items available for Bright Dust, but also silver items. Separate to that though, according to the database, it looks like Evil Avante will start selling exotic class items as part of Festival of the Lost. Now, we'll be able to pick these up with Eerie Engrams and Candy from Festival, so we'll have to pick those up once it actually becomes available. But it isn't confirmed for the moment if this will be a new acquisition source for the exotic class items. I'm leaning towards it's probably just a new way to farm them if you already have access to them. But what I would say, if you're a player who hasn't done dual Destiny yet, this week may be a point in time where it is certainly worth considering trying to get a run in, because if you can complete it once, you will of course unlock those farmable exotic class items, and next week is going to be a very good time to try and get specific roles. Now that we have attunement, of course that attunement affects all drops of the exotic class items, so between Festival of the Lost and Xur, with the exception of having to run dual Destiny, this is literally the easiest time that we'll have ever had to farm exotic class items. So that's basically my heads up. If for some reason you haven't done dual Destiny yet, there's a big chance that it would pay off trying to get a clear of it this week. Plus another consideration is that we're about as over-leveled for that piece of content as we've ever been, given that there's a power increase this episode. So even if the exotic class items don't have a new initial drop source, again, like I said, this is going to make them more farmable than we've ever had them, so just something to think about this week. Otherwise, this week for Revenant content, it doesn't necessarily look like anything new or interesting will pop up. Of course, based on the previous cadence, this week we would have had the introduction of Part 3 of Act 1. That won't be happening as they all dropped at the start of the season, so otherwise there's challenges to unlock minor discoveries in fieldwork and complete waves in Onslaught Salvation, so if you do need to do any catch up on the fieldwork stuff, this week is probably a good week to get going. And there probably will be further upgrades to the tonic crafting system and things like that with the launch of Act 2, which is only going to be 3 or 4 weeks away from now, so something else to think about on that front. For farmable rewards this week though, we've actually got some pretty good stuff. So From the Root of Nightmares raid, Conditional Finality will be entirely farmable, but Deepstone Crypt is also featured, and there we can pick up Eyes of Tomorrow, so that's 2 raid exotics. And then Ghosts of the Deep should be featured as well, where we can get the Navigator, so 3 farmable exotics there. Plus, from the exotic mission, Vox Obscura, we've got Dead Messenger drop in if you still need to catch up on that one. And otherwise, renewed chances of the Icebreaker with the weekly reset from the new dungeons. So, a pretty good week to farm exotics and go after things that you may not have yet. Otherwise though, our last mention is for the Lost Sector rotation, and I'm covering it in this video as we've only just got the complete rotation as of yesterday. So for today we'll see K1 Revelation on the Moon, then we'll get Bay of Drowned Wishes in Dreaming City for October 23rd, Chamber of Starlight on October 24th, before moving over to the EDZ, where we have the Quarry on October 25th, and Excavation Site on the 26th. Lastly though, we'll see the Pale Heart Lost Sectors. October 27th will be the Broken Deep, and we'll get Blooming Deep on October 28th. And now that we know the full Lost Sector rotation, very soon we'll have a clear idea of the loot table, which includes new world drops for this episode. So I'll keep you posted on those as we head into next week's reset when we have the data. Otherwise guys, for today, that's what we have to round up in this video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you have, a rating below really helps us on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
A new species of scorn are hunting Elixni across the system.
Once he finds you, it's too late. The Gruul must be stopped.
Stand against those who would cast us into ruin. Defend our people. But against the dead, killing is not enough. I name you Slayer